Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is an amazing film. That's not something you need me to tell you if you've already seen it. And if you haven't, what the heck are you still doing here? Go watch it. There'll be spoilers ahead. Have you seen it yet? You have? Cool. Let's talk about it a little bit. There's a lot to say about this film, and if you want more videos like this talking about this film or anything else, let me know in the comments. But I want to touch on something that the writers do in this film that seems like no one else is doing. And if they are, not nearly as well. And that, of course, is making their characters feel real. But what does that mean exactly? How does one get their characters to feel real? And why is it so important for the story as a whole? Let's take a look at one of the best written characters in the film, Gwen, and see what the writers did to make her character go from really, really good to amazing. The first thing I noticed this movie does is something brave and outrageous right off the bat. It's so controversial that you rarely see it done in film nowadays. This film allows their characters to breathe, and in turn, lets us spend time with them. This can be seen in the first 30 minutes, where we're completely focused on Gwen, instead of jumping straight to Miles. We see Gwen and what she's up to in her universe. We learn more about how she lost her best friend and why she blames herself for that, her relationship with her father, and established how she got involved with this multiverse spider people society thing that they got going on. But most importantly, we learn what her day-to-day looks like, how she acts in public and with her peers. We get to spend so much time with her and figure out what makes Gwen, Gwen. But why is focusing solely on Gwen, especially for so long, mean anything? I mean, we spend a lot of time with Miles and we learn the same things about him, so why is this important? Well, it's mostly because she has taken on a much bigger part in the story. In the first movie, she was this badass spider person who was almost invincible. She was the standard of what peak Spider-Man could be. However, in this one, she becomes the co-main character, and if we're going to root for her, she needs layers. The writers needed to make her more of a person than a symbol, because we idolize a symbol, but we sympathize with the person. Because they did this, it allows us to connect with her and empathize with her on a much deeper level. If we didn't spend this time with her in this way, her scenes later in the film would not have hit nearly as hard. Something else this film does really well is put their characters in situations and allow them to react as actual people would. A perfect example of this is at the beginning where Gwen reveals her identity to her father, and they could very easily have had him freak out immediately and try to arrest her in this big action scene where they talk and banter back and forth, saying exactly how they are feeling. But instead, the writers allowed them both to be silent. You could see the gears turning in both of their heads, Gwen thinking and hoping for her father's acceptance and understanding, which is something we can all relate to in some way. Her father was grappling with the responsibility of being both a dad and a police captain. You were allowed to see the weight of his choice and how it affected them both. This further shows why she has trust issues that she does, and how it plagues her throughout the film. This type of scene where the characters are allowed to be silent can be seen everywhere in the film. From when Peter is talking to Mary Jane once he gets home, when Miles makes his choice to follow Gwen through the portal, or when Gwen and her dad finally reconnect toward the ends of the film. There are so many of these scenes that contain almost no dialogue, or have a moment where the characters are allowed to be silent and present. All of these scenes never outstay their welcome, but they hang around just long enough to hit us right where it matters. Right where it matters. My hand was out of frame.
Yo, what's up?
That's one way they have elevated Gwen's character, but I would argue there's something more important being done that allows us to connect with her on a much deeper level. And that, of course, is allowing Gwen, and all the other characters, to be wrong. But what do I mean by that? I mean this film allows their characters to be flawed. Gwen has a few flaws, but the main one I would argue is the consistent one up until the end of the film is that she runs away from every problem she has. She never faces her problems head on, and for a justifiable reason. Every time she does face something head on, it seems to go extremely wrong for her. When she fought the lizard, she accidentally got her best friend killed. When she told her dad her secret, she almost got arrested. So she thinks if she doesn't deal with her problems and just goes with the flow, it'll all work itself out. We know this is not how things work, however, and it's shown in her relationship to Miles. It's obvious that she misses him, and when she finally has an excuse to go see him, she does, but she knows she's not supposed to. But instead of telling Miles what's going on and letting him in on what's happening, she instead leads him on and tries to leave without saying goodbye. And by the end, her actions and choices come back to bite her, as she loses her only friend because he feels betrayed by her, and now she has to work 10 times harder to get her friend back. This is excellent writing, because it makes us wonder if they'll ever come back together in any meaningful way. More importantly, it makes us want them to come back together. We are now rooting for her to not only save Miles, but for them to get together by the end. This is the power of flaws. It creates natural problems for our heroes to overcome, and it never feels cheap. Now, there's a lot more to say on this topic. You could do this for literally every character in the film that has a significant role, but you get the idea. They allow their characters to make mistakes, and the film is 1,000 times better for it. That's all I really had to say about this little brief deep dive that I did. I love what they've done with her character, and I'm so excited for the finale to come out. This has been a wild ride, and it's crazy that it's finally coming to an end. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they stick the landing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you liked the video, like the video if you liked it, comment your favorite food if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next one. Much love. Peace.
I have done it. I have skinned the Spider-Man. He is mine.